That's a great question, and I love answering these kind of questions, because what tends to happen is the answers over time change. So as you go through your own personal journey on Amazon, your things that you're doing will change for you. The things where you put your attention will change as you build your Amazon business, because really for most businesses there's I suppose you could say there's more, but for ease of simplicity, there's 3 different phases of a business growth. So phase number 1 is where you are starting out. Phase number 2 is where you're growing your business. So you've made some sales and then you want to grow it and expand your sales. And then phase number 3 is the kind of cash out phase, where your business reaches a point of maturity where you can probably either sell it or turn it into a bit of a cash cow for yourself. One of those 2 things, depending on what you want to do. And each stage has different things that are important within that stage. So I thought it would be kind of cool. And one of the things that I'm acutely aware of as somebody who's here doing my best to help you guys too, it's one of the things I have to really focus on is putting myself into your shoes about where you are at in your own particular journey. Because of course, advice about what to do is different depending on where you're at. So with that little preamble being said, here's what I think is the most important thing. So when you're starting your business, the 3 most important things I have found is, number 1, to take action. And my dad, who was an entrepreneur himself, a serial entrepreneur, used to say to me that there's nothing beats action for getting things done. And it's a really glib statement, but there's so much truth in it as well. So taking action, specific action to build your business, is the single most important thing you can do when you're getting started. And I would rather you took off in the wrong direction and then had to correct your course on the way, than you never ever took off at all because you were worried about getting it wrong, if that makes sense. I think there's much better value to be had in having the philosophy of, my first product I'm going to put up on Amazon is where I'm going to learn. And Kate Ingham has spoke about this a lot, and Kate's very smart when it comes to this sort of stuff. Your first product is your learning product. You are not going to get it right the first time you do it, all right? Just like most things we do, we don't get them right the first time. The first time you ride a bike, you fall off a few times. That's just normal. You may graze your knee, but if you get back on the bike, keep at it, pretty soon you're pulling wheelies and doing jumps and all the rest of it. So that leads me to another point, which is take action. Don't worry so much about picking the perfect product. Instead, focus on taking action and learning how to run and build an Amazon business. And so I would be very, very tempted, if you are the sort of person that needs some certainty or some help, I'd be tempted to get some help. I do this all the time. I'm learning Portuguese. The very first thing I did when I thought to myself, I'm going to learn Portuguese, is I sought out a coach to teach me Portuguese. I don't want to figure that shit out on my own. I'm going to get help from somebody who knows what they're doing. Another one of them, I spoke to my dad earlier today, so I've got his kind of philosophy in my head a little bit. One of the things my dad used to say to me around that, I'll come back to that. I'll bring that one in a second for you, okay, before I bring that other one in for my dad. By getting a mentor to help you, you'll find that that's going to be much, much easier. You get yourself a product discovery session, for instance, and at least that way you'll know the product has been put through a good criteria to make it all work for you. So that's a really important thing to do. And then the final thing, I think, is to be kind to yourself when you're starting out. So as I said, your first product is probably not going to be your product that's going to turn you into a gazillionaire, the product that's going to buy you a Porsche. My first 3 products were pretty freaking average. First one was a monumental disaster. And had I not being kind to myself and berated myself and told myself what an idiot I was, I may have given up. And that would have been a disaster, because I would have missed out on all the awesomeness that Amazon has given me. So be kind to yourself. When you're learning something, be nice to yourself. Think about when you've got kids, and I know most of us have got kids here. When you've got kids, when they're learning something new, if they don't get it right first time, we don't tell them that they're idiots and they can't figure it out and they'll never figure it out. We're kind to them. We encourage them. So take yourself back to that and treat yourself in that same way. And that's a really important thing, I think, as well. And as I was going to say, kind of the final thing is to get something up, get it onto Amazon, and then course correct as you're doing things. It is very, very difficult, and I have a dad philosophy here, it is very, very difficult to change direction when you're standing still. It's impossible to change direction when you're standing still. Get started, take some action, put something up there, do it with the least amount of money possible. You could wholesale it, for instance, and you can get started for less than $100. Just get something up there, get yourself started, and then course correct and learn the processes, learn how to do it. Your second, third, fourth, fifth product are going to be much, much better. So that's my advice for the beginning, all right? So next up is growing phase. Grow phase is different. Grow phase is you've got your product up there, you maybe even have a couple of products up there, and now you're wanting to grow your sales. You've proven that the product will sell, so now how do you make more sales? How do you actualize the potentiality of that particular product? So for me, it's all about selling. So that can be a little bit of a dirty word for some people, but let me tell you, you won't make money unless you sell stuff. That's just the bottom line. So on Amazon, in a business, you want to spend 90% of your time selling. Okay, that's really, I think, what you ought to be focused on. 90% of your available time for your Amazon business at the grow phase should be on selling. Now, selling comes in a lot of different ways, all right? Selling can be optimizing your product listing, for instance. That could be one thing of selling, which can be your images, can be your search terms, can be your descriptions, your title, blah, 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 SEO for your product. Those sort of things all fall into the optimization category, what you can do on Amazon. Then think about off of Amazon strategies for making sales. So social media, adding content to your social media site, building that audience to sell something, doing Google AdWords, Bing, Facebook, those sort of things, YouTube videos and the like. All of those sort of things should fall into that too. But you want to spend 90% of your time selling and 10% of your time on everything else that your business requires, okay? 10% sourcing your products and things like that. Focus on selling. I also think that when you're growing your business, when you first get started, the tendency is to do it all yourself, and that's cool, you want to learn it. As soon as you can, you must start outsourcing. You absolutely must start outsourcing aspects of your business. And the big thing that I've learned about having people work with me now is I find the best people I can, and then I tell them what needs to be done, and then I trust them to do it. That's been my strategy. I'm definitely not a micromanager. I am extremely hands-off, and I give people the responsibility to go and do the job themselves, because that's what you're paying them for. And that's how they will feel best about working for you as well. Of course, you want to have in place systems for making sure that the job's being done to your satisfaction, but ultimately, you must trust them until such time as they prove to you that they're either not trustworthy or no longer passionate about what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying they've got to be passionate like they've got to love it as much as you love it, because that just won't happen. But you definitely want them to enjoy what they're doing. Otherwise, you have to get rid of them as quickly as possible and find somebody who does enjoy it. You must do that, all right? It's a difficult thing to do, but that's what you must do, because you want to set them free, the person who's no longer enjoying their job, so they can go and find a job that they will enjoy. Life's too short. And you want to bring somebody into your team who does enjoy doing the work, so that the work continues to get done at a high level. That's massively, massively important. And then the final phase of the process, the cash out phase, I'm going to say that for me, when I'm looking at cashing out of a business, what I do is I look to build 9 months of solid revenue, predictable growth. That's what I'm aiming to do. But prior to me trying to sell the business, I aim to set the business up in a way so that there's 9 months, and that's all you need, 9 months of continuous growth. Doesn't need to be massive kind of hockey stick growth. It just needs to be continuous growth where, month on month, you may be just growing at, say, 2% a month, something like that. But over a 9-month period, that's very, very important. And then you can look to actually cash out. And in that final phase as well, I don't launch any new products. I retain money in the business to demonstrate the profitability of the business, because I'm trying to cash out for the maximum amount that I can. And that's my preferred way of doing these businesses. It's not to let them become a cash cow. You can do that with some businesses, but not with an Amazon business, in my opinion. I think with an Amazon business, if you're no longer interested in doing it, you must spend 9 months optimizing it, and then sell it and get into your next thing. Hey, thanks so much for watching that video, and I hope that you got some massive value from it. Before you go, do you live in Australia? If you do, this is for you. Would you like to learn how to sell things on Amazon here in Australia? Would you like to know what sells really, really well and what sells for the maximum amount of profit? Would you like to know where you can source those products from, whether that be in China or here in Australia, and how to source them so you pay bottom dollar and get maximum value for what you're doing? If you do, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, and you'll learn that and much, much more. It's the exact same information that people like Jeff from New South Wales have used to make $45,000 a month on Amazon, that Sue, who's from the sunny coast, has used to purchase herself a brand spankly BMW every single year as a result of her e-commerce business, and the lovely Kate from Bowral in New South Wales has used to make $32,000 a year on, a month, not a year, a month on Amazon, and indeed Anthony, who makes $15,000 a month on Amazon, selling, as he puts it, odds and sods. If you'd like to learn the exact same information that they use to maximize their profits for their Amazon businesses, subscribe to this video, like my channel, post below if you want me to teach you something. Okay, I'm out of here. Speak to you soon. Bye. Subscribe. Do it now.